but our life-saving work goes on every single day of the year. That's why we need your support today.
Glasses. Direct to your door. Go to Glasses Direct and before you buy, try them on at home for free. And right now, get 2 pairs from £19 with lenses. You should go direct to glassesdirect.co.uk.
Life is a miracle. Out of all the planets and all the solar systems, ours was the one to support our whole existence. Ours is abundant in sustenance, not too close or far from the sun, just enough distance. Ours are the lungs that can make use of oxygen. Breathe it in and get high on life like an intoxicant. We're all interconnected. Everything that happens, all things are affected. See, we leave our mark in the people we affect. The memories we make when we speak and we connect. The feelings we share. The secrets we protect. The strength and the weakness we project. Our time here is like a drop in the ocean. Ups, downs, and a lot of emotion. But you're still here to see the morning. Life's for the taking. Breathe it all in.
Welcome back to one of the busiest, if not the busiest, paddock of the whole year at Misano World Circuit. Marco Simoncelli. We've already 3 free practice sessions this morning. We saw Jakob Kornfeld go fastest in Moto3. Then in MotoGP, it was Andrea Dovizioso. We've just seen Pecco Bagnaia go quickest in Moto2 first free practice. We'll have all those practice sessions coming for you later on, but we've got an hour and a quarter's chat ahead of us now. I'm joined by Colin Edwards and James Toseland. And as the morning's gone, it was a little bit damp, wasn't it, to start the day, but it's brightened up nicely as things have gone. There is a forecast of rain in the air, which could worry a few people, couldn't it, Colin?
I've just got sunblock in my eye. Now you're telling me it's going to be rain. But, yeah, it looks like it's going to rain this afternoon. That might be the quickest session until we get to the race. You never know. Yeah,
we'll just have to wait and see what happens there, James. A few people. It's a niggly track, isn't it, Misano, to get started on?
It is. It's awkward because it's really narrow. The tight and twisted sections, especially the first part, turn 1, 2, 3, 4. 1 metre too late on the brakes, as we've just seen in Moto2. It's so unforgiving. You've got to go straight on, and we saw it with Cal Crutchlow a little bit and all the rest of it this morning. But yeah, I'm just looking at the clouds. When it rains here, it does rain, really downpours. So the clouds are coming.
Yeah, and we'll remind you about what happened at Silverstone. You probably already all know that anyway. We'll remind you about that in a second. But we knew the Ducatis were going to be strong here this weekend. And Andrea Dovizioso was fastest in the first free practice session. Pretty much scripted this, wasn't it? Because Lorenzo was also going quite decent.
Yeah, Ducatis, we know that the test, they were super fast here a couple weeks ago. And honestly, I thought it was going to be Lorenzo beat on top, but Dovizioso figured it out pretty early on. They obviously had to change the bike from the test. They had really good grip, lots of rubber on the track. After the rain yesterday, it's a little more slippery.
I'm going to fire a question to the man with the clipboard and all the stats. Dovi topping FP1 again. Hasn't that been the case for the last couple of races? He's been there or thereabouts. He looks as though Austria spurred him into action a little bit, because he was there and he's obviously won a couple of races this year. But he's starting weekends well, which isn't normally his style.
I've just heard from Neil. He was talking to Pirro, the test rider. And when Neil did that feature a couple of years ago, when he rode the Ducati here, Pirro said you can't believe
Mind the car, James. Don't get run over.
Sorry about that. You can't believe how much easier the bike is to ride now compared to even then, only a couple of years ago. So the work that Ducati's done, I mean, they've been nearly a second faster on a Friday than they've been in previous years. So Gigi and Delinea, obviously the chief engineer there, is doing a fantastic job and making the bike very, very rideable for a lot of people as well. There's a lot of riders out there doing well on the Ducati, and Dovi is straight out the box.
On the Honda, Cal Crutchlow fastest in second place today. There were a couple of issues. We saw him pick a bike up, a couple of problems with the bumps around track. Riding on board with him though, and P2's good start.
Yeah, great start. I mean, we know the Honda is, it looks nervous. You know, we also said that at Silverstone, it looked nervous. They obviously hadn't fixed that. Ran wide a couple times in turn 1. He was pushing a little bit this morning, but all these guys knew that they had to get their lap in early this morning if the rain comes. But put a good lap in. Yeah, I think he'd be happy with that, top 3.
He will be as well, because Marc Marquez is down in 13th place. And when you do talk about the possibility of rain later on, these are the bumps we'll talk about at turn 1. He just runs out of shot there, but he's definitely fighting the bike into that turn 1 there, Marc Marquez. You can see he's had problems. 13th and out of the top 10 as things stand.
Yeah, suffering they didn't test. You know, just getting overtaken there by Maverick Vinales, Yamaha, the few team, and Ducati all tested here only a few weeks ago, but Marc didn't. And I think that's an obvious example there of if you've tested here, just got a little bit of a base setting for those brakes when it is so critical here at Misano to get it right, to hit those apexes. That's why Marc's struggling at the moment, but he'll catch up.
And if I'm not mistaken, Cal Crutchlow did test here, because I think the factory team had used up all their days. So Cal will have had a setup. And actually, if it does rain, you know, it could affect things in terms of having a bike already set up. You mentioned Yamaha, Valentino Rossi down in 15th place, which is not something we expect around his home track.
It's weird, you know. I mean, Marquez and Valentino, there were a couple guys there that just did not put a new soft tire in. And we all expected it. All the guys at the top did. They just kept the medium tires, went out there and ran. And at this moment in time, we've been saying it, you have to qualify to qualify. And they just did not do that. They ran around the medium tires.
Oh, do they know something we don't in terms of the weather then?
Yamaha?
No, I mean, anyone, because he was saying not soft tyres going in. I can see a lot of clouds around and the wind picking up.
When it changes here and it rains, it buckets
and
down.
quite quick
it does
as well.
And if it does, you know, Marc Marquez is out as well. You know, they're both going to have to go through Q1 if it's that situation. So for the first 2 in the championship, just watching Sam Lowe's bike going past.
Yeah, well, let's have a look at Sam Lowe's crash just now. We've just seen this in the Moto2 practice. He was wincing in pain after it, and it's not surprising because he's fired out of the seat here, Colin.
Yeah, I mean, this is, you just don't see a lot of these high sides anymore. I mean, right there, the suspension compresses, kind of gets over the crown, rear wheel gets away from him, and it's just a straight up high side that flicked him to the inside.
There has been a few damp patches, hasn't there? But I would imagine they've all dried up there. But there has been a few just damp patches around the track because it rained heavy last night. So whether there was just something there, because sometimes, you know, it can dry out, but it can kind of come up from the bottom and seep through the tarmac, and maybe just because it's an unusual place to high side.
Marco Bezzecchi just going through behind us on screen. He'll be going out shortly in FP2. But him, like all of the other riders, weren't able to race at Silverstone. Of course, we had a disappointing weekend there. You know what happened on race day. It all started, really, though, on Saturday afternoon with the 4th free practice session. Alex Rins bailing off at nearly 200 miles an hour down the hanger straight due to aquaplaning. Tito Rabat went down, and then we saw Rabat hit nastily by Frankie Morbidelli's bike. Of course, he's going to be out for a couple of months, but that caused a lot of safety concerns, and as we know, Sunday at the British Grand Prix turned into a real washout. This is the Stowe corner, and Silverstone have been working overnight to try and remedy some of the problem of the standing water.
They've dug some channels at the side of the track, and what they're hoping, by angle grinding some channels into the tarmac, that the water's going to run off.
Let's just make something clear. It's the standing water that causes the issue. It's the aquaplaning that no vehicle can deal with.
Yeah, the question is, can you hold a safe race?
There we go, wet race, not surprisingly.
These guys are obviously going out in their siding lap, and they're going to have some feedback to see if it's safe or not.
There's still too much land water, not only for the aquaplaning, but also the spray. The opening lap, 22 bikes down into there's going to be a huge spray. No one's going to be able to see.
It's a lottery. It's kind of a last man standing. If you make a little mistake, you're out.
My gut feeling is this is not going to start, or there's going to be a delay.
We could see a rider revolt.
Not really a surprise. It's been delayed.
Jack, what's going on? Is it too dangerous or not?
First couple of laps, maybe, but once we, get some bikes on it, it'll be fine.
I don't know, simply. It's possible to race, but it's not a race, it's a survival.
Safety is paramount. The track is way too fast, for these type of conditions.
And the problem is that I have a holiday from tomorrow in Milton Keynes all the week. And I have even a pool, but I don't know what to do now.
You join us for the British Grand Prix, where so far absolutely nothing has happened.
So look at this though, look at that, completely sideways all the way around there, and that's with 4 wheels.
Oh, he's going to sleep, bless you. Redding, Marquez, Rossi, snog, marry, avoid. That's where we are in today's coverage, ladies and gentlemen.
Snog Marquez, I would marry Valentino and I'd avoid Reading.
I kind of knew that you were going to say that.
Why marry Rossi then?
Oh, the money.
Oh, you are so
What do you make of everything, Scott?
I'm annoyed. I'm in out my leathers. I was just about to go for some lunch. It was like, oh, restart, get back in the leathers. Came in, oh, delay again.
They brought the tractors out.
Well, that's probably the best thing to have around this track at this point in time. Can we just have 23 of these?
10, 15 years ago, we would have done and finished the race now. End of story. But now it's too much. Give the riders too much choice. Tell them all to shut up and we go.
So when you are in a 300 horsepower bike and you have to go on the throttle and there's no contact, I mean, it's completely human to say this is dangerous.
Did he say 300 brake horsepower bikes? Maybe that's something we've just learned about Honda. We knew it was quick this year.
At the moment on Twitter, this is what's trending. Hashtag, where's Keith? Where is
That's IRTA, that's International Racing Teams Association, and in there are all the MotoGP riders who've all just gone into a secretive meeting up there.
How many people can you fit in the IRTA truck? That's my question.
Jack, what's been going on? What's happening in the meeting?
Yeah, I mean, it's a case of the guys don't want to ride. I mean, it's a safety issue, as you can understand, but to cancel it already is you know, shortcoming.
Very sorry for the fans, very sorry for you. You must be really tired, but we've tried anyway. Tex 3 tried everything we could to race. We didn't have the majority. Sorry.
I think we make the right decision all together with race direction, the riders. We couldn't race. That race was very, very risky and dangerous.
The amount of water of rain was not enough to have that conditions on the track. For me, it was more related about the asphalt more than the weather conditions. And yeah, it was a T2 and T3. That part was something that you cannot ride like this, because there was many bumps. The water was there, but inside the bump was even more water, and then it was impossible to understand the track.
In 2015 it was very slippery, but the water, the amount of water on the track was normal. The problem of this year is that also with less rain, the water remain on the track. In fact, during FP4, when all the riders arrived to the turn 7, half crash and the other half go straight. So it means that is not normal. The amount of water was too much everywhere, because the problem is the asphalt more than the bumps, I think.
What do Silverstone need to do before you're happy to go back and race there again?
Resurface everything. I mean, but resurface in a good way. This is the main target, because Silverstone normally someday will rain, and like we see this year, and also in the cars, now we know after the race that they had already problems in the other races.
Yeah, for me, the surface in the dry condition was not too bad, but looks like that they make something wrong, because with the water, with the rain, the water don't drying up. So this is the main problem. They have to fix this problem. I like a lot Silverstone, but now in case of rain is too dangerous. So I think they have to find a way, I don't know, for improve this aspect.
Everybody was very disappointed to don't race, but safety conditions were not ready to race. But yeah, I mean, now we are in Misano. We're still leading the championship by 59 points, 71 and 72 with the other two Ducatis. And the target is try to increase the advantage. This is the main target, try to attack, try to be competitive. We know that they test here 2 weeks ago, so in the beginning maybe we can start a little bit more far than in another circuits, but be patient and try to work hard for Sunday.
Yeah, a lot of frustration across the board, as I'm sure there were from a lot of you fans as well, whether you're back home, whether you're at the Silverstone track. A lot of people have said it should have been called earlier, but I think I will say something. The organisers were trying to have a race. That's why all the delays were happening. Maybe communication could have been improved on that. But ultimately, the riders have had the say. they're the ones putting themselves on the line, and that has to be the way, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And you know me, I'm not the smartest guy. Don't claim that I'm a rocket scientist or whatever, but isn't every road that you drive on have a little bit of a crown on it, just about everywhere you go in the UK? And that, honestly, you have to have that. For something's happened to where it's kind of dished itself out, and it's just holding water.
Yeah, it was a shame. But the riders clubbed together. The ins and outs of who was invited and wasn't to that riders' meeting can be discussed at length. But the riders had to say, do you prefer seeing that now compared to when you guys were even racing, when you may have even been forced to ride?
That safety car was going round all afternoon, and you could see it absolutely sideways and the water coming off. It was impossible to put a two-wheeled motorcycle with 250, 300 brake horsepower around that circuit, unfortunately, on that day. We had such a good summer. You know, it was the second hottest summer I ever recorded, and just on that one weekend, it was less than 10 degrees, and it was absolutely chucking it down. And Silverstone resurfaced that track all in good intentions, didn't they? Yeah. And I felt really, really sorry for them, because they did try and make it better, and it was really unfortunate that, that those weather forecasts and those circumstances kind of came together just that weekend.
Yeah, and I'm sure we'll hear from them throughout the next few weeks about what the decision is and the investigation they've actually put into place about what actually happened over the race weekend. But what it means in terms of the championship is that things stay the same as they were from when we left Austria. Of course, Jorge Lorenzo winning there, moved himself up to third in the championship. Andrea Dovizioso just a point behind him now, with Viñales dropping to fifth. Valentino Rossi is in second place, 59 points behind Marc Marquez. Looking further down the order, Danilo Petrucci is the top independent rider, but only 2 points ahead of Britain's very own Cal Crutchlow, who himself was frustrated at that rider meeting in Silverstone.
Well, what was said in the meeting is me and Jack were ready to go. I said I'd race at 4:30, and it was at 10 to 4 when we had the meeting. But obviously the race never happened. It's simple as that. There was I'm not saying a vote. There was more riders saying that no than saying yeah. It was as simple as that. So the race was cancelled. But honestly, like I said on the day, nobody, not one rider turned up that weekend not wanting to race. That's sure. We come here to race. That's why we all wanted to race on the Monday, the riders, because we wanted to race. You know, we're not coming there to do practice and qualify and then not have a race. It was not our decision that we wasn't allowed to race on the Monday. If it was our decision, we would race on the Monday. Anyway, you know, as I also said on the day, I feel sorry for the fans that stuck it out all day. Delaying it further was just going to make it worse, make the situation worse. You know, everyone said, why don't you wait until 5:30? We could have raced at 5:30, but if we turned around then and said we wasn't going to race, we'd look even more idiots than what we not already look. But I think the right call at the time that we made was not to race, because the track condition, as you saw and as everybody knows, was dangerous enough. Honestly, it was bad. But we have to move on, and you know, we're sorry for the events of the last Grand Prix. Obviously, me more than anyone, because of my home Grand Prix. I wanted to try and do my best job I could there, and hopefully get a podium and a race win, maybe. So I was very disappointed after that, and it took a few days of strange feelings, not, you know, to have a race weekend where you don't race. But anyway, that's the way it is, and now we're in Misano, and we have to concentrate on our job this weekend.
And he has concentrated on already this morning. Looked good already today. Frustrating. You really summed it up, the frustration of everyone. But now we are back racing. We have to focus, don't we, on what's going on here this weekend.
Yeah, it's been a month since these guys have ridden in anger, so everybody's ready. We're ready. We're ready to talk about it.
Hey, turn one's going to be quite feisty on Sunday, isn't it, JT? It's always a bit hairy here in MotoGP.
Yeah, there's no distance between the start line and the first corner, and you only just get to about second gear before you're throwing it in there, and it's really, really busy. And then the sequence of the next 4 or 5 corners just bunches everybody up. It's really technical. I was just looking at Cal's championship. He's got a real chance of getting into the top 4 of the championship as well. You know, it's close. And coming out late as he has done this morning is really encouraging.
I've been a part of that first turn melee. Yeah, me and Nicky Hayden both. I think DeAngelis took us out.
I do remember that one as well. It is, when you're in that situation, you maybe need some kind of divine intervention to come in, and maybe some of the MotoGP riders will have had that, because, well, there was a very, very important meeting at the Vatican. Yes, the Pope got to meet Marc Marquez. But he also got to meet a few of the other riders as well. Danilo Petrucci, Jack Miller was there, Andrea Iannone, Danny Pedrosa, all around there. Very, very special occasion. Obviously massive over here. The only person bigger than the Pope in Italy is Valentino Rossi, isn't it? Anyway, we'll leave you some of these shots and we'll be back after a short break here in Misano.
Jimbaitai, togetherness, a connection beyond man and machine. Mazda CX-5, available with 0% APR. Drive together.
Welcome to the world's favourite online betting company. This season, Bet365 will feature over 300,000 different sporting events. We want you to feel so close, you can almost touch it. Oh, please, gamble responsibly.
At LV, our home insurance comes from the heart. It's not just about giving you a personal claims handler to take care of you all the way. It's about looking after you in other ways too. Like when you go direct to us, buy online and get a massive 25% discount. To see how much you could save, go direct to lv.com.
Opening my eyes after the op and seeing everything crystal clear.
I have the vision of a 20-year-old.
I am now completely glasses free.
And it's bliss.
My eyes weren't suitable for laser correction.
So I made an appointment.
But thanks to Optegra's amazing permanent lens replacement,
it completely turned my life around.
The Optegra hospital was
immaculately clean. More like a 5-star hotel than a hospital.
I could see so clearly.
Everything was bright.
And nothing to be frightened of.
It's the best thing I've ever done.
Great to live life without glasses again.
There are many reasons why more and more people are trusting Optegra for life-changing vision correction. From the latest laser surgery to state-of-the-art lens replacement. Perhaps it's because we have more qualified surgeons than anyone else, or more hospitals, or the choices of treatment. Or perhaps it's the more people than ever who are recommending us. See for yourself and call Optegra now on 0800 860 6120 and find out how you could lose your glasses and change your life for good. That's 0800 860 6120.
Martin is feeling a little flat. His credit score only gives a one-dimensional view of his financial position. He can't see what lenders see. Check My File is different. It's the only report that uses data from 4 credit agencies, not just one. It's the most comprehensive in the UK, giving you a more realistic view of your situation. Try it free for 30 days and see the bigger picture. Visit checkmyfile.com.
Everyone's playing the Poppy Lottery because it's really got Britain winning.
There's a weekly union jackpot of £2,000 and a chance to win up to £20,000 with the superchance.
Enter the Poppy Lottery now for just £1 every week and you could be Britain's next big winner.
I won £20,000 and bought myself a brand new kitchen to bake in.
And when you play, you're supporting the Royal British Legion. You can win £2,000 in our weekly draw. To play, call 0800 144 5525. Text Lottery 6 to 70007 or search Poppy Lottery. And keep Britain winning!
Good afternoon from here in Misano, where we are ready for more MotoGP action coming up. But just to remind you about the Gallagher Premiership, which returned last weekend, of course. We're going to be at Franklin's Gardens tonight at 7 p.m. on BT Sport 1 HD and in 4K UHD. Then we've got the Premiership match at the Rico Arena. Wasps are taking on the Exeter Chiefs, who had such a good start to the season. That's tomorrow at 1:30 p.m. And then we've got the West Country Derby coming on later on in the afternoon. Bath are taking on Gloucester. That's always a feisty battle. That's 4:15, and that's also on BT Sports 1 and in 4K UHD. But I've made my way over now to join Neil Hodgson at his screen, ready to talk about the intricacies of what is an intricate track, isn't it, Neil?
Yeah, normally riders don't like this track. Very technical, lots of slow, long corners where you have to trail brake a lot. Gets hot here. You know, normally when we're here, it's in the 30s. Track temperature's up to 50 degrees. Greasy track. And when you look at it, obviously you can see the aerial view of the track. This is turn 1, obviously turn 2. But look at the nature of the corners. I mean, this is out of shot, but it goes round basically into like a hairpin corner, down into a long 180-degree hairpin corner, hairpin-style corner onto the straight. Very technical. But what you can't see, I'm going to show you, is turn 15. This is the corner. Throughout the weekend, over the years, we've seen it bite so many people. And we're going to watch Bradley Smith. This is last year. Watch him come through, and he does nothing wrong.
This race last year?
This was in practice, I think.
Yeah.
See how quickly?
Yeah, I mean, just went away from him.
Yeah, and you think, well, was he offline? Did he make a mistake? And it's when you watch it back through. Let's play it back through, and I'll pause it, and I'll explain it to you.
So that's coming out of the sequence of rights. That's the tightest of rights. We talk about the decreasing corners. That's 14, and then this is coming up to the first left.
What's happened? Yeah, first left after 6 rights.
Right.
So even when the track temperature is high, the left-hand side of the tyre can lose a little bit of the temperature. And when if I just play it on a little bit, what's happening is you're turning into there. They brake a little bit, but you haven't got full transfer, really, onto the front tyre. So you've almost less grip. And his knee, watch this, just touches his knee down, and then the front's gone.
At the same time?
At the same time. At that point now, it might not, you might not think it, but the front's already at the complete wrong angle that it should be. And from that point, you are a complete passenger. And when I press play straight after you, how quickly it goes, just slams him down. So many riders have crashed there. Marcus has crashed there. Lorenzo's crashed there a couple of times. So that's turn 15. That's going in. We've also saw this morning Sam Lawes have a nasty-looking crash coming out. Let's have a look at it, what we can see from it. Got a couple of angles. This is the first angle. Goes in. He's got past the danger point. That's where people normally crash. But it's on the exit. Really strange. We don't see a lot of people crash there. And it's only when you watch it from...
The angle is even fired out. Is not even into the gravel. It's straight down the line.
Straight down. Yeah, when was the last time you saw someone slide all the way up towards the last corner? From this angle, we can see a little bit more what happened when I play it forward. Let's pause it about there. This section of the track here, quite maybe difficult to see from this camera angle, but that section there is like a dip. It's a dip in the track. So what's happened is he's gone through the dip, compressed his suspension a little bit. He's on acceleration. As you can see, he's on full lock there. Let's clear that off the screen. And it's when I play it forward. He's come out the dip, and at this point, he's already in trouble.
Right.
It's almost like you need to bail out at this point.
It looks good.
No, hang on. It gets even better than that. Now, if you want something on your wall at home, that's the shot there. But unfortunately, we know what comes after this.
Yeah.
And as I press play, what happens with the high side? He's run out of lock, so the rears come round, and you've only got so much lock on a racing bike. And when you run out of lock, then the suspension compresses, and it basically fires you. And watch this: compresses there, flicks him, and luckily, watch his airbag. Boom! At that point, the airbag exploded, thankfully,
and does its job.
And it's done its job. I mean, he's had a whack there, his hip will be sore, but thankfully he's got away with it. But that's all created from this dip in the corner. So the dip in the corner, you compresses your suspension as you come out of the dip. It takes a bit of weight off the tyre, and that's when the high side starts. And nasty crash, thankfully got away with it.
And that's just one tricky corner. There are a lot more, aren't there, around Misano?
Yeah, like I said, these long hanging corners. Yes, you've always got...
Is that because they turn the track the opposite way round? That you get corners that were designed to go a different way?
Not really. The only corner that doesn't work are the faster corners for that. But the slow corners are the slow corners. And it's normal. You have to trail brake for so long till your knee's on the ground. And when it's hot, and when it's a 27-lap race, a MotoGP race, I said it in commentary, I'll say it now, you have to be patient. If the rider's pulling away, you can't always make it up on the brakes. If you try and be greedy, as we say, you'll lose the front. Lots of people crash on this track.
Yeah, great insight. Thanks very much for that, Neil. Hopefully, Jorge Lorenzo will be bearing that in mind. He is a bit of a master of Misano. He's been so successful here over the years. 3 wins to his name, which we're a little bit surprised of that he's had this season at Ducati. And we managed to have a sit-down with Jorge Lorenzo.
Ducati, but also myself, underestimate the fact that it's very difficult to jump from a completely different bike like the Yamaha was, to a completely different and special bike like the Ducati. So some people, even in my team, in my personal team, say, this bike is not for yourself, you cannot do it, let's go to another bike and let's change. And I say, no, with this bike I'm gonna win some races for sure. It's a matter of time. We are very close. And in fact, we were closer than it looks like from the outside. No? Well, the first 5 races of the season has been difficult. Till little by little we adjust the bike. Ducati gave me some new parts that improve a little bit the character of especially the engine. They make more smooth the engine, but also some parts of the chassis. And then the last little piece that helped me a lot to manage all the race has been the full tank. No? I felt something was wrong with the ergonomy of the bike. I was getting tired after 5 laps. When I ride the full tank, I could go full throttle from the lap 1 to the last one, especially in Mugello and Montmeló, and won these 2 races, and then won in Austria. From then on, everything changed. Everything was positive. Everything was good performance, speed, consistency. So it was like 2 different championships.
Jorge Lorenzo is back in business.
People underestimate my capacity just because the last results, and it's a little bit like the market exchange, no? The Wall Street. Your value is getting down very quickly and very up very quickly, also depending on the results. But people sometimes forget a little bit what you've been in the past. I miss this time, these months, these months of understanding everything to make the last step. I miss this time, these months, these months of understanding everything to make the last step. Obviously, the Ducati have very strong good points that if you can take profit of it, you can win races and even you can fight for the championship. But for my natural riding style, it has not been easy to understand it. When I understand it, I could take profit of the hard braking, the stability on braking, the acceleration, not in angle, not corner speed, but I could win the races. No? I think all the struggle and all the work and the studies I needed to do to be competitive with the Ducati will make my life more easy in the next 2 years. I believe and I hope my adaptation for my next bike will be faster, but you never know.
Remember everything?
No, sure. I'm happy for this because I remember only the first sensation is the brake doesn't work, and after I am stopped and opened the eyes in hospital in Firenze.
What was the feeling when you saw the crash though for the first time? Because it's probably the biggest crash I've seen in MotoGP.
So difficult to explain the sensation because the speed is very high, 353 kilometers when I closed the throttle, and but okay, I'm happy because in this case the problem was more big, but in my situation it's possible to raise after three months, and this is happy for me.
You have worked so hard behind the scenes for years to make the Ducati more competitive. This year we're really seeing a massive improvement with Ducati. You've played a big part in that. What do you feel when you ride the bike? Where does it feel better for you?
Yeah, this is the best Ducati I'm riding in many years. You test one time the Ducati, but if you test this one, maybe it's possible understand the improvement because now it's the very easy bike, very comfortable bike. I think the best solution in the last 3-4 years. And all riders fast with Ducati. This for me is the very good feeling because I work a lot in this way because normally the Ducati only one rider used at maximum level is Casey, and now many riders comprise me possible use at top level, and this is merit the opportunity for me and but for all riders to win the race.
And from one rider who's testing this year for Ducati to another rider who's going to a new testing role, we're joined by Bradley Smith, who had a big announcement this morning. You're going to be testing for Aprilia next year. Congratulations, because we're so pleased that you're sticking around in the paddock. Tell us about it. What made you go with Aprilia and make that decision?
Well, you know, it was always the plan to stay inside this paddock. You know, I was very adamant from the word go. I didn't want to move from here, and I was going to do anything, you know, to stay and ride these motorcycles and against these guys. We were trying to put a program together, you know, with KTM, you know, to keep that continuity as much as possible. But just with the extra stress and the stretch on the team by supplying a satellite bike, then, you know, that would have been too much to do the satellite bikes and, you know, wildcard test rider. Then obviously I was looking at Yamaha as an option, but they were happy to keep Folger. You know, I also think that the guy deserves a second chance, you know, a little bit in this world. Anyone that finishes a podium in their rookie season, you know, needs to stay around and see if they can actually get him back to full strength. And I feel that I have, you know, something to offer there at Aprilia. It's taking it from their current position, which is, you know, outside of the points, you know, maybe a couple of points in there, but then taking it and hopefully moving it inside the top 10. And I think that's where I'm going to get the most, you know, from myself and the most, you know, improvements. And that's really what a test rider's job really is.
How many wildcard rides will you get as part of the deal that you've got?
So we're planning to do a maximum of 5. You know, I think as a test rider, I'm allowed to have a max of 6.
Right.
But just the way that everything fits in all in together, then a max of 5 is what we're trying to do at the moment.
That was a big sweetener.
Of course. You know, that's what I want to do. The plan is to basically do the Qatar opening test and be at round 1, you know, which is always nice, you know.
Nice.
Yeah, exactly. To be, you know, to be there at the beginning of the season. And then we're going to slot in once we know, you know, once we get things up and running and we see where things go from there.
Was the test rider for KTM an option, but it wasn't an option for you just because they weren't going to do any wildcards? And the Yamaha option, I know you said it was going to go to Folger, but were they both on the table, KTM Yamaha?
Yeah, so we were talking, you know, and I was in the consideration for both. I think the simple thing within KTM is we sat down in Austria and we just decided it wasn't going to work for both parties. And they wanted me to do something more, because clearly they didn't want to just... I wanted to race and I wanted to continue to go. With my current results at the moment, they're like, well, if your ambition is to be back in 2020, we don't want to stand in the way of that. And so go and do whatever it is that you need to do. The door's wide open for, for you always to come back. But go and do something, go and try and get yourself back on a full-time bike. Keep sharp, keep focused and see what happens, this time next year.
So every test rider has a different job. I mean, from manufacturer to manufacturer. Do you have any idea how many days, how much you'll actually be on the bike? You look at Piro, he's on the bike twice a week, it seems like.
Yeah.
Do you have a count of what that's going to look like?
So basically a pretty... one of the main focuses and one of the main pushes, as I understand from Aleix, with the renewal of his contract, also with Andrea Iannone, was basically to put something together like that they've seen in Ducati, like that they see last year with KTM, with Mika Kallio being around. There's nothing better than having a competitive test rider, because it keeps everyone on their toes and it keeps the bike pushing at a high level. It's very easy to find someone that's going to be doing laps and testing engine components and life, but actually bringing 0.2, 0.3 to the racetrack, especially with the current level and the competitiveness of the season going on this year, they wanted someone that can push it to that level and going to be on the bike. So I'm going to be on the bike an awful lot, from what I understand, and I'm going to come racing as well. So, the idea is to keep everyone on their toes and make sure that they're all doing the best job possible.
We heard something as well about MotoE. Is that part of the same deal, or is that something different? Is that going to happen?
Well, basically, I'm available to do it. There are some rules and regulations with MotoGP riders that they can't do it in the same weekend. So we need to confirm dates for the wildcards first, make sure that they don't clash with dates for MotoE, because my priority obviously is with Aprilia. But, it is something that, I'm keeping my options open for, and if we can make it all slot in, means I'll be at 10 races next year. It's quite a lot. I think it's pretty much all the Europeans, and the only ones that I miss in the end is the flyaways, at the end of the season. And you guys won't miss me there anyway. It's in the middle of the night back in Europe, so everyone's going to be sleeping. So.
Hey, do you know what, Bradley? It's so pleased, I'm sure speak for us here and everyone at home, we are glad that you're going to be sticking around in the paddock. And the thing is, who knows? I don't want to be more, but in terms of injuries, the injuries can happen, those kinds of things, and you'll be ready to slot in at any moment, come what may, with the riders. We've seen what's happened over the last couple of years with the riders that have been signed up for a couple of years, so you never know.
You know any Alicia Spargo?
Yeah.
There's a fair chance.
You never know, and like I said, the ambition is to be back in 2020 in a full-time ride, and there's a lot of guys that are only signed up for one-year contracts, with options going into 2020, and I put on a good show. There's no reason why not. Looking at Scott's lap times this morning, then whatever's working over there seems to be going in the right direction, so only good times.
We're all pleased for you, Bradley, and we're glad we're going to have you around. Thanks for announcing Jonas Folger as well going to I know that wasn't official confirmation, but we'll take it anyway. Bradley, of course, will be going out in free practice too later on this afternoon, so we'll let him go. Thank you so much for joining us in between sessions. He should be doing all his debriefs and everything, but he did come and join us to share that news with us, so that's great to hear from him. And not the only sport you're going to be having here on BT Sport throughout the weekend. We've got the FIA F3 European Championship, which was actually in Misano when we were in Silverstone. That's tomorrow. Race 1 is live at 9 a.m. on BT Sport 3. And also, here in Misano, we've got the Red Bull MotoGP Rookies Cup, and that's going to be live once we've done on air. That's from 3:15 p.m. here on BT Sport 2 HD. We are going to take a bit of a break, digest all that information from Bradley Smith, and then talk about it when we get back after the break.
Welcome to Supercars. Every model is a precision-engineered scaled reproduction of the original car. Starting with LaFerrari, Supercars is at your newsagent now. Issue 1299.
All right?
Yeah, my bank just charged me £70 for going over my limit. I hate them.
Why are you paying fees? With Drafty, you could get approved for a pot of cash up to £3,000. You can dip in whenever you need. Borrowing £100 for a month costs just over a fiver. Apply for your credit line at drafty.co.uk.
Drafty.co.uk. Thanks.
Drafty.co.uk.
Everyone's playing the Poppy Lottery because it's really got Britain winning.
There's a weekly union jackpot of £2,000 and a chance to win up to £20,000 with the superchance.
Enter the Poppy Lottery now for just £1 every week and you could be Britain's next big winner.
I won £20,000 and bought myself a brand new kitchen to bake in.
And when you play, you're supporting the Royal British Legion. You can win £2,000 in our weekly draw. To play, call 0800 144 5525. Text Lottery 6 to 70007 or search Poppy Lottery. And keep Britain winning!
MSF has been working here in a wheel and side sedan for the last 10 years. And during this period, we've had many challenges. The hospital here provides healthcare to 1.4 million people. And every year we see high influxes of patients with various diseases. During the rainy season, we see 150 to 200 children admitted per day with malaria alone. Malaria is really easy and cheap to treat, but the problem is so many people don't have the access to these medications. For measles, in total we vaccinated just under 25,000 children. We also see children with severe acute malnutrition, burns and numerous fractures, and we see dozens of children per month here with TB, and it's related to malnutrition. A small monthly amount goes a long way, so please search MSF Medicine online to give just £5 a month. We're able to give essential medicines and essential care to people who otherwise don't have any access to healthcare. This little boy has got diabetes, but without insulin, children like this would die. This is one of MSF's busiest hospitals in the world, and that's why we continually need new supplies of medicines. But with your help and your generosity, you can help us save lives.
Ah, good boy.
Just £5 a month helps us buy life-saving medicines like this. So please search MSF Medicine online to give just £5 a month. This is just one day in my life as an MSF doctor. But our life-saving work goes on every single day of the year. That's why we need your regular support today. Thank you.
Get RAC Roadside Rescue for just £4.50 a month. Every RAC patrol is a qualified mechanic, equipped with over 500 parts and tools, so we fix 4 out of 5 cars at the roadside. We're quick too. On average, our patrols fix you in just 30 minutes. We won't just tow you to a garage, we'll bring the garage to you. So get roadside rescue from the RAC for just £4.50 a month. Call 0800 2100 300 or visit rac.co.uk.
Could you beat the energy price riser, Steve? With U-Switch? Yes, you can. Oh. Boom! Game time, baby.
U-Switch. Switching made simple.
Welcome back to Misano on the Adriatic coast of Italy. But we've got lots of other things here on BT Sport throughout the weekend. We've got live Panorama National League. Ebbsfleet United are taking on Gateshead. That's live tomorrow at 5 p.m. here on BT Sport 2 HD. And we've got the Women's Super League. Chelsea taking on Manchester City. That's on Sunday at 1:30 p.m. on BT Sport 3 and also in 4K UHD. But we are here for the San Marino Grand Prix of MotoGP. Hopefully we're going to get some racing action here this weekend. Lots of action actually around here in the paddock. Tons of fans. You can't even move around, and they're big Colin Edwards fans around here. He's just been. Are you presented with that, or they want you to sign it?
No. I'm from Texas, but my official fan club is here in Italy. Kind of weird, huh?
Okay, yeah,
but,
right.
Yeah, I don't know. Just
your
some
official
little
fan club, then, yeah?
Yeah, I guess.
No, you knew about it.
No,
though.
Luke over here, yeah, for sure. He's the
seen,
man.
He's got the Texas flag on and everything.
Got it all on.
It's happening all the way around, isn't it? Look, I want to talk to you both about what we heard from Bradley Smith over just before the break. What do you make of it all?
I'm pleased with him. I'm really pleased with him because he's riding fast enough to deserve to be on a MotoGP grid. That's for sure. And KTM, obviously, with the mishaps of the race that Kallio had in Sachsenring, etc., and obviously Paul Espargaro having that incident as well, and both riders being out, has really set a kind of warning siren for them not to enter wildcards. And with that, you know, he was forced to move on. But Aprilia was a fantastic opportunity. Alicia Spargo and Iannone, you know, I think he can be definitely on their pace, and he's got a great opportunity if they slip up.
Yeah, definitely. And you both know as well, getting to MotoGP is hard enough, being here. But once you leave this paddock, you're not coming back, are you, really?
Generally don't come back. The only question I have, you know, talking about Bradley, is if Aprilia are willing to kind of restructure how they do their development. You know, because it comes from everywhere to one place. They put it all together, and you got to wait for months.
You know well, don't you?
Yeah, I mean, I've ridden for them. So it all needs to be more kind of in-house and made and built there. But I don't know. I mean, as far as testing new parts every week, week in and week out, it might be a long shot.
They had the upgrade for the engine, and all of a sudden Scott's was 11th this morning with those the new upgrades. So obviously they're moving in the right direction, and I just hope for Bradley's sake that they keep on doing that, and he can do a good job. Well, he'll do a good job anyway because he's such a professional.
I spoke to Alicia Spargo yesterday, and he said how happy he was that Bradley was going to be involved. He said, we are super slow and we need to do something. Really honest from him, but he felt Bradley, and he said the bike's only going to get quicker with someone racing it. So that's why it's important. He got someone who wants to come and wants to race it. So that's what's going to be happening with Bradley Smith. Great to hear that he's going to be staying in the MotoGP paddock. Here in Misano, this paddock is overshadowed really by the yellow of Valentino Rossi. His fans flock to it in their masses. As you would expect, it is only 8 miles up the road from his hometown of Tavuglia, but it's also the hometown of his younger half-brother, Luca Marini, 18 and a half years younger than him, but he has been on the podium the last 3 times in Moto2 and making a name for himself. So, Luke, it's a big home race, home weekend for you. Is it a busy time? Busy race?
Yeah, it's very difficult, this race. Very busy, lot of interviews, events, but it's great. It's a part of our job, and here at home it's special for us, for sure. And I really want to start the weekend. I look forward to tomorrow to FP1 with maybe some fan in the seats, and it will be incredible.
Yeah, we look forward to it. We won't take up too much of your time, but we want to find out more because your season's going so well this year. And I read a quote from you earlier this year. It says, before I was known only as the brother of Valentino. Do you feel that's changing now?
Well, for sure, with more results, it's changed everything, because a lot of people is watching you, and also speaking with me more, and speak with me with Luca Marini, not with just our brother of Valentino, and it's great, but I think that it's not a problem, because Vale is part of my life, and I want to continue like this, and I hope in also best results, and continue like this season. For sure will be better for the next year.
What has it been like growing up in the shadow of Valentino, with him as your older brother?
For sure it's a big shadow, but it's not a problem for me, because I think that there are much more positive things, because he's for me the greatest, so I can learn a lot from him. He can teach a lot of things, not just about motorcycle world, but about the life, because he's incredible, a lot of experience, and he's really also a friend, not just a brother, and this is very important.
Yeah, it's interesting you say that. I wonder what the relationship has always been like, because there's 18 years between the two of you. In fact, the gap between myself and my father is less than between you and your brother. So what is that relationship like?
Yeah, it was a little bit more difficult when I was younger, because it looks like if the difference was more, while now is less.
Yeah.
I didn't feel 18 years of difference. Now it's like 2 years or 3 years, because he is younger than me in life. It's incredible. Every time late to go to bed, he's crazy.
We know all those stories.
Yeah, he's incredible. He had a lot of strength. He's fantastic.
And you talked about him giving you advice. So what is the one piece of advice that you feel you've got from him?
Yeah, he gave me a lot of advices. He is a very important part of my improvement. That is also this year. I improve a lot. Also,
what
was
sort of
important.
things?
ask him advices and also think about his advices. And
what was the one thing in particular that he said, or
not just one?
No.
No, there are a lot, and every advice is important because there is not one fundamental and very important that is the top, the best, but there are a lot very important, and think about them and also try to do the correct thing in the track, like you said. It was really important this year for my growth.
do you feel you've had to work harder than other riders to get where you are now?
I don't know. I think that I work really hard, but the motorcycle world, the sport improve with the professionality of every rider, every team. The level is very high. These last years it's really difficult to win, and I think that every rider has to work more. And I like to work, is one of my best characteristics. I think I spend a lot of time in the box with my mechanics. I try to understand all the possible things with also the telemetry of Pecco. It's really important to work like this, and I want to continue like this.
It's interesting you say that, because Valentino described you as more studious and intelligent than he ever was at this age. Do you agree with him?
Maybe a little bit, but he in this world, when he is in the garage and in the paddock, is for sure one of the most intelligent and most studious, for sure. I remember in Silverstone, for example, that when the Dorn doesn't say nothing, he was watching the PC, the computer with his Matteo Flamini and with Galbusera.
So with the telemetry?
Yeah, he always working, always studying to improve something. And when I watched him, I said, oh, I have to go to work. So guys, come on and work, because if Vale is working, for sure us have to do.
I'm sure it's valuable advice all the way through. I remember you coming here for a wildcard in 2013, was it, on a Moto3 bike?
Yeah.
And then we didn't see you. Were you worried that your chance of being a Grand Prix racer had gone?
No, because also before this race, we are working for the next year, so I know that I will do the European Championship with Moto3, then we changed to Moto2, and for sure was not easy, but here now I'm very happy because I did a great travel, and I learn a lot from every team, every race that I did, and it's incredible to be here now. And I think in the Sky family, Sky World 46 family, I felt and feel also now very well from the beginning, an incredible feeling, and I want to continue with them because we work very well together, and I want to improve more.
Because you're tall, aren't you? What are you, 1.84 m, is it? Somewhere around this? How tall
84.
are you? 84, so that's about just over 6 foot for us. So
Yeah.
do you feel Moto2 was always the better way to go?
Yeah, for sure. Also, Vale was an important part in to take the decision to go to Moto2.
Right.
Because for me, was important to do 1 year in Moto3 in the World Championship, but my eye was too much and was a too big handicap for continue with Moto3. So we changed, and was the good decision because in the European Championship I was really fast. I achieved 1 podium. I was the Rookie of the Year in the European Championship, so it was really nice. And then I moved to the World Championship with the Forward Racing team, and were 2 years not so easy, but that I learned a lot, and also for the great job that I did, I'm here now with 3 podiums and with more experience.
Yeah, 3 podiums in a row, pole position as well in Brno. You must be feeling great. What's changed for you to be in this position, do you think?
Changed now a lot of things, because I felt much better, with more confidence of myself, and it's incredible. But for achieve that result, I think that I didn't change so much. I just work better, but more things I put together a lot of things. For example, the setup of the bike will improve a lot. My physical condition after the incident at the beginning of the season improve, and also the feeling with the bike because the new chassis I like a lot, and also the work with Pecco. Lot of things that everything together push me to achieve the podium.
Where are your strengths?
I don't know sincerely, because I always think what I have to do in the track, because I want to have all under control. And if in a point I have to brake later and harder, I brake later and harder. But if I don't need it, I brake normal. So there is not one characteristic in particular. Maybe the fast corners, because I really like fast corners where you need heart. I really like it.
And is there anything you learned from that battle with Miguel Oliveira in Brno? Because it was so close to a first victory. Yeah. Is there something you took away from that?
For sure. Every lap that I did in front, I learned something. Because, for example, also in Sachsenring, I was first, but it was different. I was a little bit less confident with that position. So then Mir overtakes me, and also Binder, but behind them I learned something. Then I arrived to Brno that I was more prepared, with more experience. In fact, this helped me a lot. And I think that Brno I could win, because also the bike was fantastic, but Miguel was a little bit maybe smarter than me. But he has more experience, for sure. He won a lot of races, he's an incredible rider. And I will try for sure to beat him in the next races.
And the next race is going to be here in Misano. Could it be the scene of your first victory? Do you think so?
Yeah, why not?
Why not?
Why not? Why not? For sure, Misano is one of the most difficult tracks for me. Very physical, and we have to see also with the temperature, but I will try. I sincerely is not one of my favorites. I prefer Mugello, for example. But with the fence, with all these things out of the track, will be for sure something more than in another race.
And I've got to ask, what does the future hold? Is it more Moto2, thinking about MotoGP?
Just thinking about Moto2, because when I hope to go MotoGP for sure, but I need to work well here, finish well this year with more results like this, like podiums or top 5. That is also always my goal. And working like this, I prepare well and better the next season. So I hope that I can fight for the championship the next season. And if I will do a great season, for sure the MotoGP will come.
Okay, we'll see what happens. Hopefully it's very soon that you're in MotoGP.
Thank you.
Cheers, Luca.
Thank you. Cheers.
Grazie.
Cheers.
Thank you. What a great chat. I really enjoyed sitting down with him, because not only is his English probably better than his brothers at this stage of their careers, but he sounds so methodical. And he is, isn't he? Stepping out of the shadow. He's making a name for himself now, Colin.
He is. And just like you said, a great kid. He's got his head on his shoulders. There's no puffed up chest. And, you know, he actually knows where he wants to go, and he's just doing it.
You said it to me just then off camera. He sounds like he rides.
Yeah, really methodical. He thinks about it. Consistent, you know. Only 2 riders in this paddock have had 3 back-to-back podiums, as we saw with Neil, only him and Marc Marquez. And to be consistently on the podium at this level means he's a bright talent for the future.
And he stands in good stead, staying with that team, with Pecco Bagnaia moving up to MotoGP. They're a good side. Tilt at the title next year, perhaps.
Yeah, absolutely. And I don't know what it was, but there was a switch that was flicked on Marini there that you can't stop him now. And once he got over that little hump, he's looking really good.
Yeah, he had injuries at the start of the season, which is why he doesn't feature in the top 10 in the championship. He's currently in 11th place, but I'm sure he'll be making his entry into this top 10 as things stand. This is how it looks. It's Bazzini actually just ahead of him in the championship, with Fabio Quartararo there. At the top, of course, is that battle that's raging on between Pecco Bagnaia, Luca's teammates, and Miguel Oliveira on the KTM. Bagnaia quickest this morning, with Oliveira in 5th. The game tight. We're looking forward forward to that raging on towards the end of the season in Valencia. We will, of course, have more Moto2 practice coming up at the end of the day, but we are going to take a short break in a second. A quick moment to remind you, though, about UFC this weekend. UFC 228 over in Dallas, Texas, Colin's home state. Tyron Woodley taking on Darren Till, the Liverpudlian, hoping to become the first British world champion there for quite a while in UFC. That's tomorrow night, 1 a.m. on BT Sport 1 HD. And as I said, we will take a bit of a break now. And when we come back, we'll be discussing Moto3 ahead of some more free practice action.
Wind gap. There was a murder there. Get me a story.
Doesn't help anything. Riling folks up.
You got 2 mutilated girls on your hands. Someone else is doing the riling.
We need to talk about your daughters. One of them is dangerous.